everybody. Michael DeGioia here. Welcome back. We are up to part 7 of our 8-part series. This is another one of my favorite styles of trading. This is trading earnings runners. This is an option strategy. It is using options to take advantage of some really great moves in the market, some predictable moves in the market, namely the ability for you to trade the run up into earnings as a stock kind of gathers some speed, expecting some good earnings results. So this is Earnings Runners, part 7, uses options or stock to capture the run prior to earnings. It is pretty much a 2-week style of trading, meaning that you can use this this style up to 2 weeks before the actual earnings report. I'm going to jump right in and show you some of the things that we do to take advantage of this. But before I do that, I'd like to just tell you briefly about myself. I've been a trader, risk manager, market maker, trading desk manager, and you name it, I've pretty much done it in the financial markets. I started out as a stock and then later options trader, then moved on to trading cryptocurrencies and digital assets as well. I have a bunch of different securities licenses, and I've been an industry professional for many years. So I've been a trader for 23 years. These are the tactics and styles of trading that I've used it during the course of my trading career. And I've used it professionally and both for myself as an individual self-directed trader. So on that note, I'm going to jump right in and talk a little bit about earnings and using options to kind of trade earnings, etc. I'm just going to make sure that my screens are sharing. So here we are. This is the earnings calendar. Now, I like to just use the regular run-of-the-mill earnings calendar as provided by NASDAQ. So if you look here on my screen, the NASDAQ earnings calendar, okay, is spread out by days. So today is June 25th. So if I'm going to jump ahead, okay, I'm going to add a couple of days to the list before I start to look at some of the stocks that I might be interested in trading the earnings on. So I'm going to go after July. So if you look on July 4th, it's a Sunday. There's no data. So earnings usually only comes out on days that you have the market open. So, business days. So we have, here is July 5th. I'm going to go out 2 weeks. So if we look at our regular calendar and we say, okay, we're going to go out. Today is July 25th. If I'm going to go out 2 weeks, I'm going to try to go past July 9th, which is 2 weeks from today. I'm going to look at earnings for July 12th and 13th. And that really does put us into the heart of earnings season. So I'm just going to go all the way up to 12th and 13th. Okay, so here is Monday, July 12th. I'm going to go a little bit further, July 13th. And usually the financials blast off earnings. So ones that I'm going to be looking for, I'm going to be looking at, and again, it might be helpful for you to grab a pen and paper while you're doing this and to write down the names of the stocks that you would be interested in trading. And the ones that work best are stocks and companies that you know the name. So like if there's a following, if it's a public company that has a public following like Apple, people love Apple. Some people love Facebook. Some people love certain companies like Amazon. Certainly they know banks like JP Morgan. So there'll be a fair bit of a fan following. Now, if you see the little sun, that usually means morning. Okay. And then after, the little stop sign is after the close. So that means in the morning, their earnings comes out early in the morning, and the stop sign looks, the stop symbol means after the close. So here is our first day. So like, just if I were to go down this list, I'm going to look at JP Morgan, and I'm just going to show this. I don't know if it's going to come out on the screen, but I'm just going to bring up my sticky notes. Okay, here's my little notepad. Okay, so I'm just going to make a list and I'll show you exactly what I do. So here is Tuesday, July 13th, Tuesday. Okay, July 13th. Now, why did Monday have so few earnings? Okay, so you might ask yourself, well, you know, Monday, why would Monday have very few earnings? So there's not a lot of earnings on Monday, so I'm just going to skip it. I'm just going to start on the Tuesday, July 13th. Okay, and I'm going to list the stocks that I'm going to take a look at when we bring up our Dash Trader. So the first one I'm going to look at for sure is JPM. Okay, that's one. Next one is Pepsi, PEP. Wells Fargo, WFC. Fastenal tends to be a good one, FAST. Delta Airlines. And that really pretty much looks like the end for me on that day. So that's July 13th. So now I'm going to do the next one, which is July 14th. Okay. On July 14th, I got a couple of good ones already. I could see them right away. So I got on July 14th, I got Citigroup. I got just Citigroup, and I would have said PNC Financial, but that's kind of a local bank that I just know about personally. So I'll leave that off. We're going to go to the next one. We used to call, I'm not going to go into what we used to call these stocks. So we have July. So this is 7/15. Going to go up here and fix the date here. So that's 7/15. Okay, so 7/15, we have Citigroup. We did that already. That was 7/14. Let's go 7/15. A lot of earnings on 7/15. We have one of my favorites, Bank of America, BAC. Another big one, which is Taiwan Semiconductor. Their semiconductors are used in almost every company in the world. Very, very big semiconductor bottleneck. Abbott Labs is a good one. You know, just for anybody who loves pizza, you got Domino's Pizza, DPZ, right? We're going to go on down the road here. Pure Health, just looking at the stocks. Nothing else is jumping out at me. Okay, we got Washington Balance, JB Hunt is a paper company and transport service, as a transport service rather. So I think maybe we could do JB Hunt, JBHT. Then I'm going to go to the next day, which is 7/16. Okay, so that's probably going to be the last day that I'm going to look at here, because I usually do them at a week at a time. Don't need to go too crazy. So we got a big one, which is BlackRock Inc., Charles Schwab. Not really seeing anything else. Ericsson, not that big. I mean, but look, we got enough. I'm not going to even go into this one, but certainly you get the gist as to what I'm looking for. So now once I've done my results list and checked my stocks, I'm going to bring up my Dash Trader software. Okay. So I bring up my Dash Trader software and I'm going to pick a couple of stocks to look at the charts. Now I want to look at the charts in a certain way. So the first one I'm going to do is JPM. Okay. JPM, not JOM. All right. So JP Morgan, okay, is already, it's kind of at a key level of support. It's kind of bounced off support a little bit. I'm going to say that I'm going to leave this one, my buy zone. I may give it a week. I have some time for this particular stock. I have 2 weeks till the earnings date. This is my buy zone right here. Okay. It's probably going to swing down into my buy zone over the next couple of days. I don't see any reason to jump right into it just yet. It's been up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I want to give it a little bit, try to get a little bit of a better price if I'm going to jump into this with some options. So certainly I could take my initial position now because it's been up for 5 days. So my call options are probably going to be, I mean, they're going to be a little bit dear because they've been up for 5 days. I would rather time it when the stock price is going down to buy call options. Now, the reason is this: big investors and traders do not they do not want to be short the stock going into earnings. So they start to unwind any short positions going into earnings. So if they're short this stock, they are going to unwind that position going into its earnings results. JP Morgan has a great track record of beating and exceeding earnings. And that's the next thing I'm going to check for, is I'm going to bring up my earnings list, and I'm going to go back a couple of days, go back to July 13th, and I'm going to click on JP Morgan's name. Okay, so here is JP Morgan's earnings date, and I want you to look at what's happened the last 4 earnings results. This is the estimate. This is what they reported. Though in second quarter of 2020, met, beat. So what do you think the trend for beating earnings is when it comes to JP Morgan? The trend or the expectation is that JP Morgan traditionally beats earnings. And what I'm playing here is the perception that JP Morgan is going to beat again. So for me, I'm going to watch this, try to get a good price near support, knowing that there is going to be a lot of buying coming into JP Morgan as it gets closer to its earnings date. And the way that I'm going to play this is a trading style that uses options. So in this case, I'm going to be looking for call options that are past the earnings date. I'm going to be buying, in this case, since JP Morgan's earnings date is July 13th, Tuesday, I'm going to buy the July 16th JP Morgan calls. And I'm going to do that when I buy them. I'm going to look at the at the money or slightly out of the money calls. Okay, so I'll be at the money or slightly in the money, but very, very close to the current price of JP Morgan in the price range that I want to buy the actual options. And I'll just go and show you what that looks like. So here, JP Morgan, my buy range is going to be from 146 to, let's just say, 150. And I'm going to go to July 16 calls. And I'm just going to check it each day and see if it gets into that price range. I mean, that's pretty much my job over the next week and a half. If it continues to surge up, there's a good chance I might just take it. Probably if it gets past 155 or 157, I have to make a decision whether I want to chase it or not. Usually it's not a good idea to chase. Let's go to the next one, PEP. So Pepsi is a 145 to 150. Certainly Pepsi has not made a run. I can take a look at the weekly chart. I mean, weekly chart on Pepsi doesn't really show me anything that's drastic. I mean, it could go lower. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I don't see any reason for me to rush. If I can get it near 144, the point of control, great. Even if I can get down to 142, even better. So I'm looking to buy. There's enough of these that I can be very selective and picky. So I'm going to go 142 to 144. Okay, so I'm going to try to buy just under the point of control. Again, these would be July 16 calls. Okay, and I'm just going to keep on going to the next one, which is WFC, right? Wells Fargo Corporation. Wells Fargo made a big run, so I'm probably not going to touch Wells Fargo at the moment. I'm going to try to buy it down near 4150 or even lower, and I may not even take this one at all, unless it blasts off and breaks out between above this 48. There's a little bit too much time for me to be aggressive on this one, but I'm going to say my buy zone is between 40 and 4250. 40 through 4250. But guys, you want to see what I'm doing is I'm bargaining. I'm looking for good price for me to buy these when they're beaten down just before earnings, 2 to 3 weeks out. Okay, the earnings are the reason why the stock is going to run. But if it gets beaten down 2 to 3 weeks before earnings, then I'm going to jump into these. Okay, next one is Fastenal Corporation. They always used to be the stock, one of the first stocks to come out with earnings. I'm I'm going to do one tech one as well. I'm just going to go onto my earnings list and find a tech stock. Fastenal, I'd probably be interested in around 40, 49, 47.50 to 49. I'd really want to be, for me to play this one, I would really want to get a good price. And remember, if I'm taking this play, I'm going to hold it up to the earnings date. I'm not going to hold it to the earnings. I just want the run. The only reason I would ever hold it through the earnings is if I'm up so much, I've booked some profit, and then I roll just a small position of a new option in profit at the money to play the earnings, but I'm only risking a small percentage of the profit, because when you trade options, the entire amount that you put into the call or put is at risk because you're buying options, you're speculating. So on Fastenal, I'm going to say 47.50, 47.50 to $50 is my buy area. And of course, July calls. The last one, Delta Airlines. We all know the airlines. You know, certainly they have been moving a lot, but Delta is not up lately. Their earnings, probably the great price to buy Delta is somewhere down near 43. So 43, 43.50. It's not too far away. I mean, I really could put on Delta. You know, you could put on Delta straight away because it is down. Okay. So could enter Delta, DAL here. So let's take a look at Delta. Let's take a look at my options chain. Okay, so I'm going to look at my options chain right here. DAL. Okay, so here's Delta. I'm going to look for my strike price. There's July 16th, right? July 16th. Current price is at 44. We scroll down my strikes here, 44. I'm going to go 44. These are my calls. I'm going to do 45 calls. No, I'm going to do 44 calls. 44 calls right here. There's my 44 calls. Okay, this is my actual order entry screen. I could do a buy to open. Let's see, buy to open. Okay, so there you go. That would be my buy to open, my 44 calls. Currently, my 44 calls would cost me about $175, $178 for one call. And then again, if it starts to rally up, I could certainly add to it into earnings if it starts to go my way. And certainly if it drops down further and gets to my 43 level, that would be an area that I could add into. I would usually only add into an earnings runner up to a week in advance of the earnings. So I would, once it gets within 4 days, I probably wouldn't add to it anymore. I'd be looking to get out. I want to get out before the earnings date, because usually most of the earnings run happens right up until the last day before earnings. And then of course I've made most of my my profit by then. And look, a lot of times the trade is already riskless. And that's pretty much the gist of our earnings runner trade. So what we're looking to do, and let me just recap the steps, or the step-by-step process, is first, create an earnings list, stocks that you know the names of, 2 to 3 weeks before the earnings comes out. And I'm going to go back and just show you, because I want to pull out one tech company. And there's a really good way. So if you have, like, instead of just looking at the days, what you can do is you could also just do AMZN, because Amazon tends to be one of the first stocks to come out with earnings. You just go back. This is market activity. I'm going to go back to my earnings calendar. Okay, so what you do is you just, if you notice the URL up there, it has Paychex. I'm just going to go boom, 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 and go AMZN. If you know the symbol, you can just cut right to the chase and find Amazon. Amazon is coming up in just a few days. We're already past out of the 2-week period. So, and look, I mean, Amazon has had a tremendous track record of beating earnings. But if you notice, Amazon stock, Amazon is like the official start of earnings season. these days anyway. Amazon's already made its earnings run. So if you had gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days, that was the earnings run right there. So when it went from 3,200, it already started its earnings run. If you want to take the last little bit of the run, you could do it from here. It's probably going to run again before the 29th. But Amazon has earnings after the bell. The fact that it's been down for 3 days is good, but you're just catching the last little bit of the earnings run. The right play would have been to get in off of support around 3,200, and you would have already been hugely up had you taken that play in that way. So needless to say, I hope you found that this was educational and helpful. Let me go back to my presentation. Okay. I'll just wrap this up. Okay. So next steps, if you'd like to learn the full extent of the details of the earnings runner strategy, and you'd like to work with me as your coach, I'd love to work with you as well. You can do that and continue your learning with me and Dash Trader by going learningdaytrading.com. You just scroll down to the featured educators list, find my name or find my picture, and select which coaching session you're interested in. Click on the purchase 30-minute coaching session. Click on the purchase of hourly sessions. If you want to do the 30-minute consultation, it's just $50 and I can see if I can help you. Generally, what I like to do is I like to work with people to create a trading plan, revise which trading strategies they're going to focus on, and then I can work with you to apply those strategies in the live market. All the education is done by Zoom meeting. It is recorded and provided to you after the session so that you can go back and review our sessions, and certainly that helps you going forward. I hope that you found this educational lesson helpful. There's one more session on scalping and intraday trading. And then, of course, I will look forward to teaching you some more as we go through an entire another 8-section set of lessons here on Dash Trader, Dash Trader's YouTube channel. I thank you so much for joining me. And again, trade well, everybody, and be well. Bye-bye.